Hi, have you ever felt like your family is not really your own? It's not the type of scenario where you recently had an argument with your parents or siblings and you're kind of angry at them because they said something or maybe they didn't do things that you wanted them to do. It's kind of like a different scenario where you're feeling like a black sheep of the family, like a freaking alien, like you really do not belong with your family. Like you and them, so freaking different that it's crazy. If that's a possibility, if you ever went through the stuff like, am I adopted or something? Because we really don't match. If that's the case, you might want to consider that you have been birth bombed. Now, birth bomb is a phenomenon that before people incarnate here on Earth, while they're still in the womb or before the birth, just before the moment, well, they're gonna get the body, you're gonna be bumped to another body. And so, the family that you were supposed to be with, the body that you were supposed to have, is now belonging to someone else, and you got something random that's really gonna mess you up. So, to explain this phenomenon more, I would like to look at it from a bit further distance. And let's say that long ago, planet Earth was really thriving and doing better than ever. It was really advanced, but at the time we had a galactic war going on, and the good guys lost, and we lost Earth. So now we have the dark forces taking over, controlling people, dominating everyone, and enslaving everyone who stayed or who's left. Now, not only there's the enslavement and control, but they're also looking for beings who are very powerful out there from the multiverse. If you've heard about indigo kids, crystal kids, and like all these special intelligent kids, that's one thing. We have also star seeds, people who have abilities to heal, and just people with the brightest souls. They're very wonderful beings. And they have come here from other planes, the greater realities. Because Earth looks like, hey, there's a lot of people who are imprisoned, a lot of people who need help, and you might be that killer soul, okay. There's a lot of people that are in pain, and I'm here to help. And you come here with ability to help everyone, with great intention, but then you get messed with. And that's basically the scenario where the dark forces, they're very advanced. The war is going on a whole different level. While here on Earth, we're still thinking about the 3D stuff where we have wars and bombings and different kind of stuff going on. Just think about what would happen if we were millions and billions years more advanced. The place where technology doesn't need to be, oh, I'm gonna pick a gun and shoot you. No, they're gonna get in your mind and they're gonna trap you. And they're gonna change your thinking, change your perception, and make you the slave of your thoughts. This is the thing that's going on for real. And for people who are here, ending up in families where, hey, your parents might be crazy. I'm not saying it happens to everyone. I'm not saying like, hey, you had an incident with your parents or siblings, and you feel like, kind of like, hey, I don't like them at this moment because something happened. Not that. It's like the whole life, since your birth, something was happening to you constantly, every single day. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, being sexually abused, psychologically, like one little things at a time. And every single day, constantly being suppressed, being watched, being monitored, being messed with in every single way. Some people grow up with ability to create, but no matter how much they do, how much they try, they will always be the wrong one. Not good enough. Hey, you don't say that wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough. And they're always going to tell you like something that you do, no matter how much you try, no matter how hard you work for it, no matter how much you try to get their approval, or that as at least, hey, you did good. Well done. There's no patting on the back. That never happens. But that's still kind of light and easy version. Other people are being born in families with narcissists and psychopaths. So now every single day you live with people who are going to manipulate you. There's ghosting where they're actually going to misplace things around the house to trick you and make you think like like everything that you're experiencing is not true. And they're trying to mess with your thoughts, with your beliefs. They're trying to make you feel guilty. There's also this whole Stockholm syndrome where they're going to hurt you, they're going to piss you off, they're going to do all these things to you to damage you, and still you're going to love them and all. Because like now you're a victim and this is the only approval that you can get. So these are just like few things. Some people are like being ignored all the time. No matter how much they work to get the approval and love from their family, they're always ignored, like not seen. Like anyone else in the family will get all the approval, all the attention, but not you. And hey, if you're one of those people who are going through this, write your story. Write what's going on with you and if you think that you've been burp bumped. So I want to go more into this because a lot of beings Other in the multiverse, they have great abilities. Ability to create, to manifest things, to empower others, to have, you're being like an open book. You can tap into all the knowledge that is there in the multiverse. And the knowledge is there anyways. You have all the abilities to access it. It's like becoming more aware of it, and all of a sudden you have information, you can share it with others, and you are the super soldier, the god being who's gonna be there to create planets, to create civilizations, to help out and free others, and just to engage in the bigger game of life. With all those abilities, beings like you are being targeted because the dark forces don't have the ability to create. They don't have the ability to imagine and give all the good stuff. They're playing on a whole different role where their mission is to make sure that they're winning this game. And the way to win is to target the beings who are actually powerful and make them think that they are not powerful anymore. Which is why when we get trapped here on Earth, where you were forcefully coming in here, some people might capture you, put your soul, hey, grab you and just throw you here on Earth. Others might be like a salesman. They're gonna tell you a great story about hey, you're a wonderful being, you have great abilities, there are plenty of people on Earth who need help, and you can do that. You can help others. And they can tell you any kind of story, and you come here and all of a sudden, that's not what you're seeing. And that's just a start. There are tons of ways how they can get us, with our agreement or without it. But when we get here on Earth, the thing that happens is, first, we have loss of memory. We forget our past lives, we forget who we are, why we came here. So all of a sudden, all the grand goals we had, it's not there anymore. Next thing that happens is that people get birth bombed. So now you end up living in a family that's gonna actually mess you up. And we're talking in a way where if you were nourished, if you're accepted, if people would help you grow and actually just manifest your abilities and be at your highest state, you would be very dangerous to the dark side because they cannot create. And since you are the creator, since you can manifest everything and anything, well, you're freaking dangerous. That being said, with all the abilities that you have, and wiping their mind is not enough. Now, Cameron Day mentions that some people get birth bombed just at the moment of the birth, or very little before the birth. But I'm talking to people who actually can recall memories pre-incarnation. What happens just before incarnation? Did they get captured? Did they make any kind of agreements? Are there any kind of hypnotic commands or more? Not just that, there are people who will recall all 9 months in the mother's womb. So you can get birth bombed right at the incarnation. You can get a different body. And you're looking okay, I'm gonna incarnate here on Earth. You have a goal of, let's say, helping people, just being yourself, giving love, just being a great example. And that's the whole thing. We look at the world today, and we see what's going on, and we're not happy about it. We have pandemic, now we have the whole thing with racism and people fighting for the rights. Just standing up for the black people because they're being messed with and they're the ones actually experiencing a lot of pain right now. And now we have the whole world fighting against each other, causing even more mess. And there's a whole lot of injustice going on. Corruption, pedophilia, tons of different things that most people are maybe not aware of or don't really care about. With all that going on, there are beings who will come here to fix things, to make things better, because in the multiverse, we are used to being in a peaceful place, or at least having a good place to live in. Here on Earth, it's pretty freaking crazy. It is pretty crazy, and most people want to do something to make things better. So when we have great beings from multiverse coming here with their abilities, all of a sudden, all of this will be lost. It's you have to make agreements before incarnating here on Earth. So now, because having to incarnate, you have to agree to the standards of humanity. You cannot fly, you cannot do this, you cannot teleport, and you're just gonna have to agree to tons of lists of things that you cannot do. You make tons of agreements. You lose your memories, you forget everything that you were, and at the same time, you can get birth bombed. So now, even though you could be born in a family where people would care for you and okay, maybe I'll lose my abilities, maybe I'll lose my memories, but with people who love me, people who will nourish me and make sure that I grow and get better, and just hey, I'm growing in great environments, and now I can be the best version of myself, and I'm helping myself, and I can do a lot to others. That would be a great scenario. But what happens is that you target your family that you want. Okay, this is the perfect family. You have the great design of this is the body I want, this is the family, everything's set up. And the moment you choose and go, you get in a whole different family. The family that's actually suppressive, controlling, manipulative, And the whole life, you grow in a very harsh surroundings. Now, for some people, they'll try to like escape the family. Like, okay, I'm 18 or maybe less, and you'll try to, let's say, find a college, find a job, go to another town, and just escape. Some like for example, for girls, it might be easier with like, hey, it's kind of hard to leave on my own because blah blah blah. So they have to marry earlier and like just look for ways to escape the family because the family is, let's say, toxic as can be. They might ignore you. They might like just like point the fingers at you all the time. Like no matter what you do, you're always the guilty one. Everyone's around you is better. Oh, just like if you were like your brother, if you were like your sister, comparing you to everyone, and no matter what, no matter how hard you try, you're always the bad one. And so with people who experience that, you can move away. But living in the family for 10 or 18 or 20 years, doesn't matter how long you live, you already got messed up. You did not get nourished. And as these wonderful beings get the body and live with that toxic family, and the moment they leave, they had years and years of programming. And now instead of being, okay, self-confident and feeling good about yourself and like, hey, I want to explore, I want to do this, I feel like for myself, and like all these good things that you could do that would empower your life, it's not there. We are afraid as can be. We're not trusting our skills. What if I fail? What if this? What if? Tons of fears and concerns and worries, and we're feeling so inconfident. We're afraid of living. We're not even living anymore. We're trying to survive. It's like that's crazy. And people don't have love. People don't have that approval or appreciation on any of that. And it's really harsh because people, they need love, they need understanding, they need someone to listen to them. And that's the hardest part. Some people like, okay, just I don't care about love, just please listen to me. And people live without being understood. For example, some people might come in and let's say indigo kids or some people who have better abilities like higher and stuff, they might live in a way where they can see more than others. And what parents and other families that might not have awareness can say, hey, you just have an imaginary friend. You're just making it up. But for a child, they can create a reality. They can actually communicate to other beings. They have ways to access information way better because they're still not accepted by the society. They're still not programmed. They're still not shaped by someone else. They still have their freedom and their own original version. And if the family is toxic and let's say they're the ones suppressing you, they're going to reshape you in a way where you will lose those abilities. So all of a sudden, everything that was making you powerful is now being denied. And you are constantly trying to fit in, just to get a little bit of love. Like, hey, I will do anything for that love. Just please accept me. And you will reshape yourself, make sure that, okay, I'm always the wrong one. You're going to like start damaging yourself. Some people will start beating themselves up, causing tons of incidents. Like if you've heard about the sense that, like, let's say with a dog injures his leg and he sees that all of a sudden, like he had a whole month, his parents or like, master taking care of him, taking care of the doggy way better than ever before. And the doggy gets better. And next week, like the master comes back from work, he doesn't pay attention to the dog. And dog's like, oh, well, subconsciously, dog starts like, like walking differently. And all of a sudden, it's as if like he had the injured leg again. And all of a sudden, the master gives him more attention. And so what happens is like dog is using his subconscious way of getting approval. Same thing happens to human. We see ways of how we get love, and sometimes we will injure ourselves. Sometimes we will do things to ourselves unconsciously, but we will harm ourselves constantly to just get a little bit of approval, a little bit of love. And that's pretty hard. So people get programmed like that for years, and then they leave their parents and they go away. And you're lucky if you can leave. You're lucky if you can go away and try to live by yourself. But then there's years and years of programming that happened. And now it's like, hey, just trying to replenish your skills, just trying to become yourself again, just trying to go through life and finding the strength in yourself. That's really hard. Some people can't leave their family and it really messes them up. So there's a lot of things going on. And like my thoughts when I talk to this about my clients, there are people that I talk with and they go through that stuff and they've been birth bombed. And when I hear their stories of how harsh it has been, or even I kind of feel like, hey, I got birth bombed for real. The whole thing, like, it took me years and years to break away the habits, to break away the control. Like, for years, I could hardly ever talk. I was freaking shy. I hated myself in every possible way. I did not want it to exist. And, okay, I might have information, but I'm always keeping it down to myself. I'm not understood, there's no one to talk to, and that's even the worst thing. Some people might have great abilities, you might have great information, you just want to talk about love or different kind of things, but no one will listen. No one will understand you. People will actually laugh at you, and you'll basically deny everything that you are. So when that is the case, and when we leave, I think like one of the most important things is to cut the connections. Because, for example, if you live with your parents or family for like 18 years and now you break free, and all of a sudden, look, okay, you have like 5 days by yourself, you're actually feeling good, but here it is, 7 p.m. or certain time of the day, and your body all of a sudden automatically feels crazy weird as fuck. For example, if your parents are alcoholics and they're getting angry and stuff, so they come back from work, it's like 5 6 p.m., they get a drink, and at 7 p.m. they always yell at you, they beat you up. So now you live away from your parents, you don't have anyone abusing you, but here comes 7 p.m. and your body feels this massive fear, shaking, like anxious and stuff, because your body is used to being abused. You've already been programmed that, oh, at 7 p.m., my parents will come back, they're going to be drunk, and they're going to hit me, they're going to yell at me, I'm ready. So your body is already feeling tension, and you might be away. But the programming that you've endured is still there, and that's freaking harsh. And that's just one case of scenario. People can get beat up, people can get programmed in a way where, you know who you are. You know who you are as a person, and others will tell you things. And as a human beings, we should not deny ourselves. You're pretty, you're wonderful, you have amazing talents, you are a great, wonderful human being. You're a massive consciousness, and you can do everything. But people don't tell you that. People tell you, oh, you suck, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, da 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 da, one thing after another. And all of a sudden, you got so much blame from others that you will start blaming yourself for them. Like, oh, okay, don't tell me, I already know, I know I'm bad, I know I'm guilty, I know I'm incapable of this and this and this. And instead of fighting for yourself and looking out for yourself, we start beating ourselves up emotionally, psychologically, in every possible way. And, it takes a long time to break away from this control. So for people who are able to move away, the best escape is to cut all the connections. If the family is really toxic, if they trigger the hell out of you, if they beat you up, if they cause immense amount of pain, and every conversation brings up all those emotions and terror, it is very good to cut the connections. It's like having suppressive people who will deny everything that you are. They will try not to have you do or like have anything that you want to have. You can't do anything that you want to do. You can't be with who you want to be and stuff. Or, like you want to be stuff, you want to have stuff, you want to do stuff, but they will not want you to do this stuff. So with all the scenarios, if you cut the connection, all of a sudden you cut them from your life, and no more conversations, no more meetups, because all it takes is for you to, hey, I had the whole month when I'm living great, everything's fine, and here comes a call, and it doesn't matter what they say, just having the connection, just hearing their voice already puts you like, oh fuck, it's gonna happen. And some people, they might say a conversation, like you have a conversation, hi mom, blah blah blah, you're just talking, and everything's fine, but she has a phrase, she has a way of talking, and all it takes is one little thing, calls you dummy, and all the people in your life were like, hey, you're a great person, we love you and stuff, and your parents probably call you, hey, dummy, dummy this, dummy that, whatever. It's an example. And they call you dummy again. And all that approval that you had, all the love, all the moment that you've been working for yourself, in one simple second, in one word, dummy, triggers the hell out of you. And all of a sudden, it's if like everything that you've been working for is triggered again. And you lose yourself again. So if that happens, it's very important to cut the connections, because all it takes is a simple word, simple phrase, just being there, and they're going to trigger the hell out of you, and they're going to have all the programming rise up again. So if you cut the connection, you cut all the things that will trigger you, and you have the freedom to rise up. It's good if you can cut the connection. It's good if you can actually escape and be away from them, be in their city, be away from the family, and finally, when you can break free and live your own life, and if you can work on yourself, you can break free from all the control and from the, birth pump stuff. Because it takes a while to reprogram yourself to get better. But for people who cannot live, it's very important to know your truth. And isolate yourself as much as possible from the family. Spend as little time as possible. If they're really bad people, if they're really messing you up, and you have to be in the same house, if that is the scenario, just try to limit the timing as you talk. Or if you can't limit the time as how time you spend together, all the interactions, you have to be aware of what they are doing that triggers the hell out of you. What is it that they do or say that makes you feel really bad? Is it calling you words, saying that you're unworthy, you never finish things up, you're not good enough, you're not good at this, you should have been better if, blah, blah, blah? Are there any kind of phrases? Are there any kind of actions? What is it that they're doing? It's very important to be aware of it. And after the awareness, like, okay, I know that, like, my bro will say this phrase, my dad will say this phrase, my mom will do this thing. And now that you know it and you are aware of it, now you have to expect it. Okay, here comes 3 p.m. My mom should call me, and she's gonna call me a little bitch or something. And here's a call. She calls you a bitch again at 3 p.m. Or like, hey, you're not good enough. You should have done this. Hey, clean the house and blah blah blah. Like whatever. There's gonna be specific phrases or the way they talk to you because it's your family, so you're gonna know them better. But during the conversation, because you're expecting that thing to happen, and you're aware of what's gonna trigger, now that you have the conversation, all of a sudden the damage will not be as big because you know what's gonna happen, you know what they're gonna say, and all of a sudden, like, oh, I've expected, like, happened once, twice now, 3 times. You have to take a wins of how you deal with them, and the best thing is to cut the connections if possible. That being said, like, there's a lot of this whole topic, but as I work with people, I see how massively they are actually messed up with their families, with all the things like narcissists and psychopaths and all the stuff that has been done to them. People literally have no one to talk to. No one will understand them, no one will listen to them. And if you're like, hey, I just had this kind of experience, you can tell them about your dream, you can tell them about how you feel, about something that you see, and they will laugh from you. They will not acknowledge you, they will not understand you and stuff. And that's really hard. So you have to find people who will be there for you. And it's kind of hard in this world, like, hey, good luck finding someone like you. But if you are looking for that stuff, go on YouTube, find people that you like, find that, let's say, mentor or a figure that you admire that makes you feel good. Find a person that's going to be there for you no matter what. Not necessarily here in life face to face, but online. Let's say Mel Robbins or some guys that are going to coach you or just be there for the whole public, but listening to them will make you feel better. That's one thing. Music, whatever makes you feel better when you isolate yourself from the parents and family and just be yourself and take wins wherever possible. That being said, I'm sorry, there's a whole lot of the subject, but it's important to know and understand of how the family has messed you up. What is it that they've done? Is it like they've messed up your ability to perceive stuff? Maybe your understanding, maybe your belief system. You lived your whole life being ignored, living with the belief that I'm not good enough, my brother's better than me. No matter what I do, I will never succeed. I'm always a failure. Like whatever implanting commands or thoughts or programming you've been through, it is a thing. So it's very important to be aware of it. And once you're aware of it, let's say, write it down. Write down the things that they've triggered, that they've programmed in you, about how they make you feel and stuff. And now it's time to put in work. Okay, my parents make me feel like I'm worthless, like I'm not good enough, like I'm not da da da. And just you make a list and just pick one thing from the list and work on that. Work on how can I make things better? How can I stand up for myself? How can I do this thing better? And once you put in the work, at least one thing at a time, you're working for yourself, and don't let anyone else tell you what to do or how to live your life or who you are. It's very important to develop a belief system about how we think of ourselves, how we perceive ourselves, and do not let anyone else change the belief system. It's important to know who you are and trust it and not let anyone change that belief system. And you're wonderful, and you're powerful, and you're an amazing being, and no one can deny that unless you allow them. And it's, if they can enter your mind and head, and you're gonna hear their voices in your head, every time you do something, there's your mom or dad or siblings saying, hey this, hey that. All the time they're gonna trigger you. You have to quiet yourself. Shut up. Stop thinking. It's very important to quiet all the voices in your head, whether it's yours, whether it's from your siblings or parents, or even someone else. Shut it all up. If you cannot think, you cannot have it trigger you and stuff. With all being done, it's more like physical life. What can we do? There's also ways of, let's say, removing those agreements. When we come here on Earth, we have to agree to what our life is going to be like. So now, if you can find the agreements that you've made, and how do I find my agreement? So what is an agreement and stuff? The way you perceive your life, everything about your life that is real right now, all your beliefs, all your perceptions, attitudes, points of views, all your feelings and emotions and everything about it is an agreement. And if you agree that you're not good enough, that is an agreement that controls your life. So you have to get rid of it. You can look into Cameron Day, Soul Culture Revocation. There's also Rich West, Rich with 50X, Andrew Barr's Galactic Historian, tons of people who can now actually help you out with ways of getting rid of disagreements. But the most important part is being aware of it. And, cutting any possible connection, being aware of what triggers you and working on it one little thing at a time to get better. And, it's a big deal. Because people like you, you're very powerful. You have great abilities, you're a wonderful being, you can empower yourself and others. And you are terrifying to the dark side because you can change a lot, and they don't want that. They are afraid of you, which is why they're trying so freaking hard to trigger you in every possible way. If you had great surroundings to grow, if you had surroundings to be nourished and to finally become yourself and be the best version of yourself, you can do a whole lot just by being yourself. You don't even have to talk, you don't even have to do anything. Just walking in the street and being yourself, your energy will light up others. And that's very important. Which is why they're always trying to trigger us, like every single day. Even if your parents are done and you finally cut off all the connections and you're living by yourself, all these daily triggers, there can be tons. So it's important to know what triggers us and to be able to deal with it all. And yeah, I guess like these are just like my few tips and my thoughts on this whole birth bump. It's a big thing. It's totally a big thing because people can have birth bump even like during the incarnation process when they're in the womb, not just before Earth. Some people will let go of the body and we hear about the crib death where baby's completely healthy and in a whole like less than a year they die in the crib and stuff and sleep. So the consciousness, at least like fuck it, I'm not playing. They leave because you know how messed up it is. But other beings, with their technology that they have the mind web so that we would not remember anything, they web so much that we don't even remember our original goal. We think that, oh, this family is our real family. And they're there to mess you up. And not necessarily the people who are targeting you, but these people in your family, they too can be messed with. Their thoughts can be altered, their actions can be altered, and they will be used against you. And you can be targeted, not just by your family, but by people in your surroundings, people in school, people in your job, anyone around you. So know what triggers you and be aware of it and try to deal with one thing at a time. But hey, I'm just like, it's a very big subject. And, if you are feeling like the black sheep of the family, like an alien, like you've been adopted, like, no, what the hell am I doing in this family? I'm so different. It's okay. You are not crazy. You've probably been birth bombed. And now it's your time to shine, to gather up as much information of what is going on, why is it happening. It's quite likely you're the most powerful being there is. You are a very wonderful being who can manifest anything, your love, your creation, you have it all. But that is what threatens the dark side, which is why you have to break free from their control, from their like monitoring and stuff, and make sure that you can finally work on yourself. Working on yourself is very important. So these are my tips. You are not crazy in anyhow. You are just like going through some stuff, and it's important to know what's happening, why it's happening, what triggers you, and what can you do to get better. So hey, these are my thoughts on birth bump. It's quite a thing. It happens very often. So if you have this like suppressive family, like really crazy stuff, feel free to share your story in the comments because there are a lot of people going through this stuff and they have no one to talk to, or they feel like, hey, I am the only one that's going through this. It's so freaking crazy. No, you're not. There are millions of people experiencing this. So be one of them who writes a comment and hey, we're gonna find a whole community of people who've gone through this. You're not crazy. There are millions like you, and we can actually work and doing something better to help you out and, bringing the awareness to people. And if you've gone through this stuff, if you've gone through your suppressive family, if you've had one, if you've had the birth bump, share your story, how you've dealt with it. What did you do to get better and how your life changed after cutting the connections, or if you've had any other ways of dealing with it. Because if you can tell your success stories, I might say one thing, and I'm just sharing my thoughts and like my experience is subjective from what I've experienced myself and from what I've learned from other people that I've worked with. But if you share your story, you might be the one bringing a light to those that need the help. So please do that. And hey, you are a wonderful being. So please take care of yourself, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.